When I go back and I read these journals, I am taken back exactly to that place in my voice where I was desperate for something from God. And it's just a beautiful path. It's a beautiful path. And it just reminds me to be grateful for everything, every great season, every tough season. And I really wanted to share this with you all today. Hey friends, I'm Rosemary Lewis, your homegirl, and I'm so excited that you are here. I do not care what it looks like on Instagram or HGTV. This whole being a realtor thing is not for the faint at heart. In 2017, I quit my job as a teacher to follow my real estate dreams and quickly found myself overwhelmed and struggling. Fast forward to today. Not only have I been recognized as one of the leaders in our industry, I have actually grown a business that I absolutely love. I don't care if you're a brand new agent trying to figure out how to get started or a veteran feeling overwhelmed and just stuck. I was just like you and I totally get it. Many times I wish there was someone that I could just talk to about all the challenges I was facing. And that is why I created this space just for you. Like best friends do, I'm giving you all the tea related to navigating and thriving in these real estate streets. If I can do it, guess what? That's proof that you can too. Everything's better with friends, so let's succeed together. Welcome to the Real Estate Bestie Podcast. Well, hey there, besties. Welcome to episode number 68. And I am calling this one Confessions from a Struggling Real Estate Agent. And I'm going to share with you some things from my journal, child. And I have to tell you that I'm kind of nervous about this episode. And it really made me think about the fact that, a lot of times I think in our society, we use the term friend very loosely. I think that part of it is because Facebook, right? Everybody's your Facebook friend, but then these are people that you don't know in real life. I legitly was at an event yesterday. It was a networking event for somebody who I do consider to be a colleague, right? But anywho, her daughter was at the event. Her daughter, I've been watching her kid on Instagram and on Facebook since she was about 8, and she's 14 now. And this is the first time that I met her. And my response to the little girl was like, "Oh my gosh, hi, look at you." And she's looking like, "Lady, I don't know you." But again, because we get to peek into people's lives and, we loosely get to have that term friend, right? Sometimes we can kind of get it a little, no, I don't want to say twisted, but you know what I'm saying? Like everybody is not your real friend, or there are levels to relationships. That's the better way to put it. And I was thinking about the fact that when you have besties, when you have friends, there are levels, right? And there are different things that happen that you like, you may have an experience with somebody and you're like, okay, it's no going back now. Like we in this thing together. We real friends. And it actually made me think about when I had my second son, Cameron, when when Corey and I had our first son, Corey, we were not husband and wife, child. We were little kids out here trying to have a baby. Well, we weren't trying, but y'all get what I'm saying. But what was funny, it was not funny, but when we had little Corey, I want to say I was 19, Corey was 22, and he was in the room with me. And right when they were like, okay, it's time to push, he got a little queasy and he stepped out the door until I pushed little Corey out. So that was fine, and luckily Corey came quickly and it was all good. But fast forward 11 years later, when we had Cameron, he was determined that he wanted to be in the room. And I was like, okay, yes, let's do this. He's in the room, my mom in the room. But y'all, my man wanted to like the doctor wanted him to be at the head of the bed, at the head with me. But he wanted to visually see everything that was happening. Okay. And I'm not going to get graphic I take that back. I have seen it because I had a friend who had a baby, but, it is graphic. So I was just thinking to myself, oh, it ain't no coming back. Like we go together, sir. Like, even though we were married, we go together. You go see this and we go still be together. Like this is a different level to the relationship. And though we are not going to get graphic today, just know that this was a really good idea in my head. Like, okay, yes, I'm going to share my journal with my real estate besties. But then when I started reading them, and I just really, I went back to those moments and I was like, oh, I hope they know we go together after this. So I hope y'all know, like, we are friends for real, because what I am going to share is not pretty. I mean, it's definitely not crazy. But one thing that I love about journaling, and I started the practice of journaling on a consistent basis, honestly, when I got into real estate in 2017, because I had the time. I had the flexibility of schedule, and I started following one of the first books that I read in real estate was Miracle Morning. And he talked about starting your day with what he called lifesavers. I'll let you read the book, but you start with silence, then you do affirmations, then visualization, then exercise, then read something. And the last one was scribing, which was writing. So, starting your morning off with that little bit of a ritual, that was my first kind of stab at a morning routine. And that's when I started journaling consistently. And I will tell you all, y'all, let me tell you something. If you are not a journaler, and I struggled for years, like this first journal that I started it in 2015 when I was teaching, and really didn't get consistent again until my schedule changed in 2017. And I just really started writing, and I really started documenting my process with real estate. And, I'm just overwhelmed when I read it today. And this is why I like journaling, is because, you know your story. You lived your story, but sometimes we can minimize exactly what we were going through, or because we truly are evolving, we forget who we were when we were going through that valley season or even that mountain season, right? But when I go back and I read these journals, I am taken back exactly to that place in my voice where I was desperate for something from God. And it's just a beautiful path. It's a beautiful path. And it just reminds me to be grateful for everything, every great season, every tough season. And I really wanted to share this with you all today because life be lifing, real estate be real estating. And this isn't just to my newbie agents. I just know that sometimes it can feel like you are just out on a ship by yourself, and the waves are battering, and you just don't know where to look up or what to do. And I just hope that these journals are some encouragement, and you're going to see a theme as I start to read them. So yeah, that's what happens. That's what's happening. So definitely, y'all better give me a 5-star review, okay? Because I'm reading my journals to you. So give a 5-star review, share this with your real estate besties, and let's just hop on into it. So I need to just set up what was happening in my life when I start reading these first. And I'm not going to read out every single journal, but I just picked out a couple that I thought would be helpful for you to just hear. And let me give you some scenarios. So I'm going to start reading from November of 2017. So picture this. Rosemary has quit her whole job, okay, as a teacher. I quit my job as a teacher in June of 2017. Hit the ground running, had a couple closings. And even though I had those closings, though, I was not confident in the space, right? I wasn't confident in my own skin. I didn't feel like I belonged. Everybody that I saw in real life or on Instagram intimidated me. It just was tough. And I was at a season where I knew something needed to change, but I didn't know what needed to change, right? I didn't know what needed to change. Oh, and then the money was funny. And at this time, y'all, even though I was a teacher and my salary wasn't huge, I was pretty good with money management. And one thing I never had was like a negative bank account, right? Now, I might have had $3.44 before I got paid on the 15th, but I never, was negative, right? I had that check to check mentality on lock, right? Or I just knew what I needed to do. But this time, y'all, like a deal was supposed to close and it didn't. And it caused my bank account to go negative. And my husband was building at the same time, building his business. So like when I say it was negative, I'm not saying like, oh, we just didn't want to pull from. No. We did not have it. And by the way, we were building a house, right? So totally like I was that person like that total faith move. I do not recommend it, but this is what was happening. So here's the journal. I wrote on 11/5/17. I said, the past few days have been such a whirlwind and really an emotional and spiritual roller coaster. I've had so many emotions. I just feel raw and open, from the lack of money in my account to learning the dynamics of being in real estate, to this women's conference at church, to finding out. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this part. My friends were supposed to use me as their realtor, and they didn't. This was when I first started. They didn't use me as their realtor, and I just found out that they moved to Texas and didn't tell me. Yeah. So it's finding out that my quote unquote friends are here in a heart-wrenching conversation with my husband last night. I am so drained, but God. Last night, talking to my husband was heartbreaking, but it was also such a special moment because I saw how God is penetrating both of our hearts in ways that I never witnessed before. It was amazing to see how our hearts are being shaped. And my heart is full because I realized that nothing I could do or say would ever change how much God loves us. And I'm surrendering everything to God because I can see how God truly loves me and Corey, and I trust his plan for our lives. This week, I was the brokest in my finances that I've ever been. But God gave me his riches in so many other ways. He allowed me to join a real estate team that I know will be a ministry. I didn't realize that going in. I think that God will use this team to not only grow my business, but to bring me so much closer to him. And with the situation with the friends, I'm bitter and I'm hurt. Bitter because I really feel like I was a good friend and realtor. Even though the deal wasn't quite working, I wanted to walk away, but didn't want to be disloyal to them. And then for them to come here the way they did, it really hurts. I know that I have bitterness in my heart, and I pray that God gives me a heart after his own. I repent for the ungodly thoughts in my head and pray that God shows me that when and how to proceed. I want to express my hurt and anger, but I know that the time is not right, and he may never release me to do so. I just want to live like Christ, even and especially in very difficult situations. Because y'all, I was hot, okay? Okay, here's a couple days later. Different journal entry. The enemy tries to make me believe so many lies, like I'm worthless and stupid, unworthy. But God's truth dispels all of those lies. I am so worthy that he sent his son just for me. Even in this challenging season, he loves me so much that he allows me to find peace and joy in his presence. I am grateful for the King Jesus, and I'm expecting amazing things today. Okay, 2 days later. Another day, another start with an overdrawn bank account. I'm really tuning in and trying to see what you are really telling me in this season. Here is my truth. I feel completely like a fish out of water in this career. I have no idea what I am doing, and I am just scared. I haven't ever been so financially strapped ever, and it is causing so much stress on my marriage, on my physical life, on my personal life, and I'm overwhelmed. But here is also my truth. God, you have always provided everything I need. You love me so much that it is more and more apparent each day. I am growing closer to you each day. There are things that I have prayed for that you have brought to light. You love me. You called me to this place in this career, and you want me to do my best work here. I will trust you. I am yours, made in your image. You will use my life, my situation, and this season for your glory. You will accomplish what concerns me. So I'm going to stop there just to say, this is why I love journaling, right? Because I can sit here and be like, oh, real estate was hard in the beginning. And, again, not really remembering the details. But these journals really take me back to, and do y'all see the theme? Like in this business and learning and the ups and downs and being disappointed when people didn't choose me or when I just didn't know how to show up in this space. There's a true theme of like what that really was. Like on the surface, it seemed like it was about the business, but it was really about me growing in faith and growing in relationship. So here is the rest of the month. Okay, this is a couple weeks later, 11, 15, 17. Well, truth be told, the enemy has been working overtime trying to convince me that I am worthless. And to be honest, I let him. Yesterday and the day before, my spirits were so down. From the lack of money to my house being messy to my son's grades to learning and growing in real estate, I just felt worthless and like everything I've been doing, I suck at. But I watched a video, 54321 last night, and today I choose to launch my life like a rocket. I am believing God. My faith is weak because my flesh is trying to win, but I'm pressing into you. Your ways are not my ways. Your thoughts are not my thoughts. So I pray that I don't try to understand, but that I just trust and keep my eyes on you while I am out on this water. This life feels like so much to bear, and I am so grateful that I don't have to bear any of it alone. Today, I just ask for your power because right now, trying to do it on my own, I feel so weak. I need you, Lord. Please renew my mind today. And y'all, I have an asterisk here. This is what I said. I said, one day I will share this testimony and you will use the season to break yokes and bring somebody to you. And if this will bring one person to salvation, it is well with my soul. When I read that last night, knowing that I was going to share this podcast with you, I was like, whoa, God. And I'm pausing for a second. You probably can hear I'm getting a little emotional because I know I'm not the only one who goes through tough times. But sometimes, y'all, those tough times, when we press, you will be so surprised at how God will use your valley season to empower somebody else. Because that chick writing these journals, she wasn't trying to be nobody's real estate bestie. She needed a real estate bestie. She needed somebody to tell her that it was going to be okay. And you know what? She actually did have somebody because she pressed into her heavenly Father, and he provided for her. And more than providing for her financially or, in business, he provided a safe space for her to be honest about where she was, and he met her at her need. So let's continue, y'all, because I don't want this to be a 90-minute episode. So here we go. 2018. This was May 15th. So about the last entries I read from you were from November of 2017. So this is 2018. This past weekend was great. I took a listing and executed on a main view home. Corey turned 18 and it was Mother's Day. Church Saturday night, my pastor said that we are most like God when we are giving and forgiving. That stood out to me, especially because of the situation with my friend. And here I'm talking about the friend that came to Texas and didn't use me as a realtor. Although I was hurt, I know deep down inside it's foolish of me to hold a grudge with anyone, especially them. While I don't agree with how things went down, I know that I must guard my heart. I cannot continue to have malice in my heart towards them. God has been so good to me, and he used that situation to draw me closer to him and showed me that I have to depend on him and not man. I love God, therefore I am called to love his people. I'm going to meet with them today, not because I am so good or kind or loving, but because God loves me and forgives me and calls me to honor him beyond my feelings. I am grateful that he is growing me up and showing me that his will and agenda exceeds mine, and that convicts me. So let me just give y'all the background of what happened. So I did meet with that friend, and we had a very honest heart-to-heart conversation about just how everything went down. But I will tell you that obviously there was time because, the time from when they moved to Texas, it was a little sneaky situation. But from the time that they moved to the time that I sat down and had a meeting with them, it was about 7 months later, right? They really were sorrowful, pursued me, but I needed time, right? I needed time before, to see if I should have the conversation, but B, I needed time to make sure that I was ready to have the conversation. And it was good. It was honest. It was heartfelt. Though my feelings were hurt, I did go with a heart of understanding. And though our relationship has never been restored to the way that it was previously, I truly have no malice in my heart for them. If you come to my house for a party, you won't even know the situation happened and they're going to be here partying with us. But I wanted to share this part because I know that this is definitely something that a lot of us go through. Okay, fast forward into later in 2018. This is in October. God is so great. I am in a season where he is calling me to new territory for the first time in forever. I actually have money in the bank. Although I don't get paid, I have money in the bank. And although I get paid this Friday, no more living check to check. Things are clicking for my husband in business, and God is doing amazing work in both of our hearts. Our relationships with business and personal are God sent, and God is calling me to positions of leadership. Like what? God is blowing my mind with his faithfulness, and I'm so grateful. Praying for the courage and to continue to walk in faith. Now, listen to the next one, because don't be thinking like, oh, Raspberry, you're so great, because look, I'm still fleshy. Here we go. December 2018. I started off by saying heart check. Yesterday, I was scrolling IG and saw another realtor friend post that she made $30,700 on one deal. First thought, jealousy. I was like, really, God? I was judging her situation and honestly thinking, why not me? I'm sowing seeds, but God immediately convicted me. This year has been the best year ever for me, especially financially for my family. To covet what someone else has achieved is so disrespectful to all God has done in my life. Instead of being jealous, I'm grateful for her blessing and grateful for all God has done for me. I'm also honest with myself, knowing that I've gotten lazy about a lot, especially real estate. Here's the reality. God has given me everything I need to win. He is blessing me with the tools and opportunity, and I have to be bold enough to do something with it. David had the training, tools, and opportunity to take down Goliath. But what if he said no? What if he was too lazy to go? What if he did what his earthly father told him to do rather than his heavenly father? David did what God told him and used what God gave him. I have to do the same. I rebuke the spirit of Saul and embrace the spirit of David. So here's what I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for heart checks so that I can be honest with God. I'm grateful that the word of God is applicable to my life. I'm grateful for Jesus. I'm grateful for friends that motivate me. I'm grateful for my family, my home, my kids, my healthy body, clean water, Peloton, the tools I need to win, time, 2018, and new beginnings. So I wanted to share that one, y'all, because y'all know how it is. I've already done episodes about imposter syndrome, and we'll link it here. I don't even know what episode it is, child. But it can get real when we are looking and trying to figure out and, trying to do this business, and you look on Instagram and somebody is doing something, and I think that the natural part of us is to figure out like, oh, why not me, right? But the beautiful thing that we have to remember is that someone else is doing it. It shouldn't be a dagger to say, oh, not you. Like, look, you're not good enough. It should be encouragement to say, oh, you know what? That is proof that it can happen for you too. So that was me being honest though, because I was hot. I remember that. And I'm thinking about who the realtor was. She's also a real life real estate bestie. I need to call her and tell her about this. Okay. Now, fast forward to the next year. We're almost done. I'm only going to do a couple more. November 28th, 2019. So this is the next year. And for me to set it up for you in 2019, I was on a real estate team. And in the beginning of 2019, it just was no longer a good fit for me. And I ended up going out on my own. So here's what I said. It's the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm sitting on my couch literally in awe of God. 2 years ago, my heart was so filled with so much fear for so many reasons. Scared and confused to be a realtor. Scared to buy this house that I'm not sitting in. Scared for my husband and our relationship. Scared for our finances. Scared to take steps to be closer to Jesus. But with God's grace, we did it all scared. And I'm sitting here on this quiet morning, literally in awe of God. You have allowed me to experience so many blessings, and I'm grateful for that. For so long, I was caught up in being envious or feeling unworthy that I couldn't focus on you and what you were doing in my life. Lord, I'm sorry for all the times that I doubted you and didn't put you first. And so grateful that you didn't hold any of that against me. Thank you for leading me to your word and your people. Thank you for loving me and using all of me. Thank you for your grace and provision. Thank you for allowing me to use my life for your glory. I am just so grateful for today. and most of all, grateful for the living God. Okay, let's see. I marked this one. Let's see. Okay, this is the last day of, almost the last day of 2019, December 30th, 2019. Closing out 2019 in awe of God and awe of his faithfulness, grace, and mercy. This year has been filled with so much growth, but the thing that I'm most proud of is how I'm coming to know Christ. Yes, I sold $10 million in real estate this year. And yes, God is blowing my mind in so many ways. But I know I'm not perfect. Life isn't perfect, but God is great. This year, I started off as a solo agent, grew in real estate, started my brand, grew Pearls for Girls, mentored, shared Jesus, went to Israel, saw my son get baptized, was a blessing to others, received countless blessings from God, and realized that when I fully surrender and give it to Jesus, everything is possible. These are the things that God is calling me to, and I don't know how they will happen. To be a Bible teacher, to be a public speaker, and to support other women. Y'all, do you hear that? Do y'all hear that? I mean, I'm not out here saying I'm a Bible teacher yet, but I hope that when you come here, I don't know everything about the Bible, but I do know about a man named Jesus, and what he has done in my life, in my business, and in my heart. And as I wrote this, I had no idea. I had no idea. It's just, this is why you just got to keep going, because you have no idea what God truly has planned, but we just have to be obedient. Okay. 2020. Here we go. We're rounding it down. This is 11/24/2020. I went to sleep super early last night at 7:30. So woke up today super early and started cleaning and listening to worship music before 4 a.m. While cleaning and reflecting, I thought about how grateful I am for our home. I remember 3 years ago when we were going through this build process, I was so scared. I was scared because I couldn't see how it would happen. And I remember praying in the closet of our rental and really struggling to see myself in our home. I asked God to help me with my disbelief, and he did. He showed himself faithful, and that's why this home is not just a house, but it truly is heavenly ground, where God has grown my faith and dependency on him. I want to remind myself that just as I was desperate for God when I couldn't see the way and how he was going to work it out, I have to be just as desperate for him as he gives me more vision and clarity and the ability to dream. I just love Jesus. Woo, I get chills when I read these. Did y'all hear that? There was a point in life where that section in the Bible, I will have to look and see where it is, but it was when the man said, Lord, I want to believe, but I need you to help me with my disbelief. And I think that that's one of the most earnest prayers you can pray, is to really say, you know what, I want to trust you. And I do know that you can do it, but there are parts of me that doubt, right? We doubt where we fit into this space. We doubt that we're doing the right thing. We doubt that we're making the right decisions. We doubt, right? All of these negative thoughts. But for a long time, and even now, that is one of my prayers. Like, God, help me in these areas where I have disbelief. Okay, and we're going to round it out here, friends. 7/23/2021. Now, a whole lot has happened since then, but again, this is not about to be a long podcast. Well, it's kind of long, but here we go. Yesterday, I hosted a homegirl happy hour, and it was a blessing to be in a room with so many of my amazing clients. I am grateful that I had an opportunity to help so many people, and I love seeing what doing it scared and trusting Jesus has produced in my life. I am grateful. I am in awe and just grateful to God. There are so many layers to my story, and I'm grateful for every part. The good, the bad, the ugly, the heartache, and the pleasure. God has been faithful and grows my heart closer to him each day. I love you. Whew. So, see why I say we real friends, we go together now? Because listen, like, I had to revisit Rosemary of 2018 and 2017 and 2019. And I just want to be honest and say, y'all, like, who you see today, but for the grace of God, right? And I wanted to take you along that path because I don't know where you are. I don't know if you're in that season where I was when I was just getting started and I just felt like a failure every day before I got started, or, when I'm gaining some traction, but I'm still doubtful, right, of what, like, God is showing me what he will do, but the negativity in my head, or the, coveting what someone else has is getting in my way. Or if you're on the other side, right? Like, cause I wrote that in 2021 and then 3 months later, my mama died, so I don't know where you are in the ups and downs of life and business, but I wanted this girl, right, who wrote in these journals to just tell you that you can make it, to encourage you to keep going, to encourage you to do the things, to encourage you to whip out a journal. You know what I'm saying? Write down your prayers, because this is probably one of my favorite things to do. Every so often I will just go through and I will sit and I will read, and God will take me right back to those moments of triumph and trial. And I get to see every good thing that he has weaved in my story. And I want you to see every good thing that he's weaving in your story. So, okay, we got through it, y'all. Told you, we real friends. We go together now. So if any part of this episode has resonated with you, and as you can see, I mean, obviously we're talking about business, but it's really just being open to what God has for you. Go ahead and hit that share button. Screenshot this, share it on social media. Let's blow this episode up, because again, I think that we live in a world where we see the highlights and we hear the sped up version of, oh, I had a difficult situation, and it's somebody out there going through hell. And for them to know that they're not alone, but there is hope in those hellish seasons, it could be the difference. And I'm just looking at that one entry when I said, if one person would try to come to salvation, then it's well with my soul. And it is well with my soul. So besties, I love you so much. So grateful for you. Thanks for letting me sob with you and go through my journals and, have this super intimate time with you today. And yeah, that's what I got. I'll talk to you next week. Bye, besties. If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.